And welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. Welcome friends, welcome foes, and welcome neutrals. Please tell your bros so everybody knows what's going on with this thing, which some of us would call Sol or the Sun or the local yellow dwarf. This is a 94 angstroms view, and it's a 48-hour video from the SDO, the Solar Dynamics Observatory. A little bit of activity rising in the northeast, no sunspots. Pretty low solar activity overall. By the way, we are streaming live to Twitch. Thanks to all of our subscribers over there. Please leave us a comment if you're viewing the content live. And next we're going to look at the sun in 193 angstroms. And here's that 48-hour view. Again, a 48-hour view from the SDO. Not a lot of features here. The South Pole coronal hole is looking quite huge, and we are in its current sheet. Currently, no pun intended. We'll let that play through a second time. Again, active, some filaments there in the northeast, as well as some active regions rising. No sunspots. Next, looking at HelioViewer, we've actually created two movies today. And please bear with me a quick moment here while I get these up and running. Here is the southeast quadrant. And there's a filament down there, which is why we decided to load up this one today. And the other one is that's the southwest quadrant. Did I say southeast? I meant southwest. That's the southwest quadrant. Here's the northeast quadrant. And this is actually 1 day of activity, courtesy of helioviewer.org. So we see some filaments up there. Again, a little bit of activity rising. That's the most interesting area of the sun right now. And these are actually yesterday's. Next, looking at the GOES X-ray flux here, it's quite flatlined. The possibility of seeing some flaring has now gone up a little bit, again, as we see some activity rising. Let's talk about the annular eclipse that's going to happen.
Hi, everyone. We have an annular eclipse of...
And here's a visualization of it. This one is located at spaceweather.com. And for some reason, Google's junkware once again does not function as I press full screen, and it doesn't go full screen. So let me just forward this here. There's a visualization of where the annular eclipse will happen. And it is about new moon right now, so it'll be what we call a ring of fire eclipse. Anyway, 10.7 centimeter radial flux, still at 68. And by the way, we're viewing this now from the perspective of the Space Weather Enthusiast dashboard, as the graphic that we normally show on the channel has been sunsetted, so to speak. And this is a great way to look at any cycle you want. If you want to look at the cycle, from 1900 until 1958, oh my gosh, look, solar activity must be ramping up, right? Isn't that right? Shout out to Eugene Bagashov. We'll talk about Eugene momentarily. Anyway, the 10.7 centimeter radial flux at 68. And what are you going to do with the final hours of spring or of fall as we approach the solstice? Join us for our solstice stream later today. It's going to start at about 5:15 Eastern Daylight Time, the same time as New York. The Solstice Stream 2020. I know, solstice doesn't have a U in it. We misspelled it on purpose to make it easier for you folks to find it. Give us a call during the Smash stream. We'll be streaming to 3 spots. To twitch.tv/smashomash, facebook.com/smashomash, and youtube.com/smashomash, obviously. So give us a call. Country code 1. That's +1, area code 610-936-9799. It's country code 1, 610 area code 936-9799 for the VoIP line. Proton flux is quite flatlined here, no surprises there, as we haven't seen any big coronal mass ejections. Next, looking at where objects are in the solar system, as we are very close to a new moon. There's where things will be tomorrow. There's where things will be 1 week from now on the 27th. As Mercury swings through, we should be seeing it on the Lasco C3 and C2. As we approach the Jupiter and Saturn zone of opposition, or conjunction, whatever it's called. I always forget opposition and conjunction. Anyway, looking at stars, here's in-the-sky.org's star chart. And if you're up before dawn, you should see Mars and the moon, a very slim crescent moon, if you can see it at all, very close in the sky together. And let's talk cosmology for a quick moment, in that we're not going to talk cosmology. The KP index is currently at 2. This is a measure of the overall geomagnetism of the planet. And let's talk about cosmic rays. I guess this is cosmology. Energy from space! Here's the Athens neutron monitor, showing us a quite flat past 30 days. Next, looking at Apatity and Barentsburg. And yes, they're out of alphabetical order for all you pedantic viewers. There's Apatity, also flat on the past 30 days. And there's Barentsburg, small uptick there over the past 30. Some kind of a trend like that at Barentsburg. Next, looking at Mexico City's Cosmic Ray Observatory, and we see its small uptick here in the past 30. And finally, looking at Oulu and DOMC Antarctica. Oulu is a small downtick, and DOMC has some goofy data. Check it out. What is up with that? That is just bizarre. Not to mention this. Yowzers. Look at how their graph expanded. Holy. What is up with that? That's a new one on me, folks. And next we're going to look at one transient X-ray source, Sagittarius A star. And again, shout out to Eugene. Eugene Baggish, Eugene the Philosopher, the YouTube channel. We'll talk about it momentarily. Here are the transient outbursts for Sagittarius A star. If you want to follow transients yourself, check out the Neil Gorell Swift Observatory, the BAT, which stands for Burst Alert Telescope. And shout out to Bruce Minas. We must get you joined up in Honest Trav Virtual Dive Bar. Next, we're going to look at the real-time solar wind, going back to data here, going back to this data. And we see the phi angle shifting as we make the video. And again, we are streaming live. It's twitch.tv/smAsho. So we recently saw the BT-BZ get a little more convergent here. BT at 4 right now, and BZ right around 0. -0. Oh my God, it's -0. Next, looking at the phi angle, it's 299 degrees. Solar wind density around 15 protons per cubic centimeter, so a significant uptick there. It looks like another coronal hole wind stream, actually. And if we see the solar wind density dip down at the same time that the speed comes up, that's a signature of a solar coronal hole wind stream. Current solar wind speed at 326 kilometers a second. Next, geospace magnetosphere movies to give you a visual representation of what's going on in the magnetosphere. From a zoomed out view, we show 4 hours of data daily when we make these videos. And it's taken us months and indeed years to figure out what information to show folks. And since that refreshed, let me advance that a little bit. Anyway, there's 4 hours of data, courtesy University of Michigan. Next, looking at ground magnetic perturbations, and we actually see some this time. Especially over the Canadian North Pole. For those new viewers out there, we've got 2 North Poles right now, as well as a South Pole, which has left the Antarctic continent and crept into the southern Indian Ocean. So we could actually see some auroral outbursts here when the solar wind speed comes up, as we tend to see lots of induction when that happens. So that's something to keep an eye on throughout the day. And when I say ion, the pun is intentional. Speaking of ions, the GOES magnetometer is looking quite spiky and sawtoothed, as I forecasted yesterday. Why? It has to do with the current sheet. The heliospheric current sheet, by the way. Not to be confused with the galactic current sheet. And we've got some chats here. Bestoic says, looks like something flew into the sun. And lots of things flew into the sun, as well as flew out of the sun. And we'll be happy to check out your video later. In fact, let's bring it up now. Here's a video from one of our viewers. And I don't know exactly what he's looking at here. The view from stereo A. We'll have to save that for a later time. Here's what he was looking at. A couple different wavelengths here. Here's 211 angstroms. And this is what happens when you get involved in a live stream. We may actually feature whatever you've commented on. And let's get back to the regularly scheduled content. All right, so next we're looking at the Gong 2 data. Here's a line of sight field plot. And you can see the B field is quite homogeneous here. No big changes in the blue field there. That's the B field, the interplanetary magnetic field, the one on which you live. No big changes coming from that. And the activity rising in the northeast doesn't look so strong as a result. And here's the top view ecliptic plane field plot. And as I forecasted yesterday, we are back in the South Pole oriented current sheet, shown here in red. Electrons are very low. The Van Allen belts are super weak right now. And you can see this downward trend that we've been showing since August of last year. And we came up off the floor a little bit, and don't expect the electron flux to rise today, because again, we see a higher density solar wind, and a dip in the electron flux is what I like to call proton light. Have you had your protons today? Next, looking at the electron content for the total column of air, all the way from the thermosphere down to the ionosphere. And we see quite low levels, some anomalies once again over the Caribbean. Actually, some significant anomalies there, north of the equator at nighttime. So a little bit of anomalous electron flux there in the air column. And the ionosphere is looking very, very anomalous and wobbly as well, which is our next pain. So here's 6 hours of data of the ionosphere. This is Bureau of Meteorology from the Australian government. And you can see heavily discharged nighttime portions shown in these big red blobs where the F2 layer becomes an F layer. So heavily discharged on both the nighttime and daytime side, and quite sporadic charge-ups of the ionosphere. Here's the latest image. That one is from 9:15 Universal Time, and that's actually looking a little more normal there, except for maybe this region here, where it's up to 4 megahertz. It's an F4 layer. See, here's an F2 layer, here's an F1 layer, and here's an F9 layer. Does that help understand the ionosphere? I don't know. Anyway, we see a bit of an uptick here in earthquakes over the past 24, as we saw a 7.4 magnitude earthquake 2 days ago that we reported on yesterday. Starting things out with a deep quake in Alaska coming in at 9:34 UT yesterday. It looks like one of the largest of the past 24 hours was this 5.6 at Fiji. Check it out. It's 534 kilometers depth. There's the location of that one in the deep quake capital of the world. We see more deep quakes and deeper quakes around this area than any place on the whole planet, folks. Why that is? Well, it has to do with geophysics, and we're going to talk geophysics later in the video. Let's just scroll up the list. We're going to talk about anything odd, such as this extremely deep quake at Fiji, once again, a 4.3 magnitude at over 500 kilometers depth. By the way, we have no idea what's going on 500 kilometers below the Earth's surface. No idea whatsoever. The deepest borehole ever was nowhere near that deep. And just scrolling up the list, one other quake of note would be this one here. It's a 4.1, very far north. Let's check the location of that. Looks like it's in a pretty unpopulated portion of Siberia. In the Krebet-Cherskogo Mountains. Cool. And let's take a look at volcanoes of the past 24. We see Mount Ibu exploding, flight level 6,000 there. Semeru exploding, flight level 14,000 there. Dacono exploding, flight level 6,000 there. Popocatépetl exploding, flight level 20,000 there. Fuego. No volcanic ash cloud observed. Don't pitch a tent on the lower slopes of Fuego. And Sabancaya is exploding. It's producing a 22,000-foot ash plume. Please do not attempt to hang glide or fly a wingsuit over the caldera. It could be an unfortunate experience. Speaking of unfortunate experiences, the Democrat Party has nominated Joe Biden for president. And even Joe Rogan is on board with saying, what is up with Joe Biden? Why has the leftist media completely ignored the cognitive decline of Joe Biden? How did they end up nominating a guy like this, who is even worse at composing a coherent sentence than his predecessor, who has no coattails at all, Barack Obama? I want to get a bare shirt image of Barack Obama and make a meme that says, coattails, Obama has none. Ask Hillary. Ask Joe Biden. Now, the Democrats should have nominated Bernie. At least Bernie is able to compose a coherent sentence. And while I can't stand Bernie, he is seriously one of the dumbest politicians that I've ever seen in my entire life. At least he is somewhat mentally functioning. Yes, he believes lies. Yes, he spouts lies. Yes, he's a complete economic illiterate. 100% true. But he's able to compose a coherent sentence and actually have a conversation. Like, Bernie's like a real human. Joe Biden may be operated by servos, I'm not sure. So while Bernie cites the correct problems in the U.S., things like wealth and income inequality and so on, his solutions for said problems are worse than the problems, and the whole thing is cringeworthy. Now, Bernie and Liz Warren and Tom Steyer, they would all like us to have free wampum and free ponies, free college, free internet, and free inflation at an unlimited scale. And let me cite one of Bernie's most famous quotes. At the end of the day, you don't necessarily need a choice of 23 underarm spray deodorants or of 18 different pairs of sneakers while children are hungry in this country. Even despite all of this economic illiteracy, and I don't know what kind of stores Bernie shops at that has 23 different underarm spray deodorants, but that's neither here nor there. The whole thing is cringeworthy. And the fact that the Democrat Party nominated Joe Biden is extremely creepy and bizarre. Almost as creepy and bizarre as Tom Steyer. So some of the mainstream media sources seem to be talking about this. Well, Town Hall has at least. Poll finds over half of Americans think Biden likely in early stages of dementia. Is that a surprise? Check it out. He's pledged to nominate a woman for his vice president. Amy Klobuchar has stepped down out of consideration for this, suggesting that the nearly universally disliked Kamala Harris be his running mate. I think it's perfect. Kamala Harris, wow, that's really going to get him elected. It's a woman of color, which is some kind of weird soft racism thing going on. Let's nominate a vice president based on her skin color as opposed to her qualifications. And let's talk about China. China. Have you said China today? This virus is Chinese. It make joke. It make pee-pee in your Coke. China. China. It's a cheap Chinese plastic virus, which is hey, none of that. None of that. Chump. All right. Now, this virus is not your enemy. And if you want to read about some actual research, check out swprs.org. If you go to their homepage, you'll see this right here. Facts about COVID-19. Just click on English or Deutsch if you speak German, if you can read German. And basically, it's just citing things that I've been saying since late January, constantly. So maybe have a read on that, Studies of Lethality, which, by the way, the mortality rate keeps dropping and dropping, as there are probably like 4 billion cases of COVID-19 right now. What a joke. What a joke. Let's talk about Eugene, the philosopher. Now, we've got videos on our channel. We've got videos on our channel talking about the theory of everything with Eugene, which is in one of our playlists. So check that out. It's in the cosmology playlist at youtube.com/smAsho. In the playlists section, I believe it's just /playlists. So youtube.com/smAsho/playlists, and you see a whole bunch of playlists in there. Here's Eugene's latest video, and I caught him in an unflattering moment here. Let's play a clip. This one is about Ben Davidson and suspicious zero observers.
And there is no physical mechanism for the sun exploding due to some mysterious crossing of the galactic current sheet.
Which brings me to a good point. Now, I've argued with Ben before about the galactic current sheet. Ben Davidson does not appear to understand where that's located, as Sagittarius A star's poloidal fields give us some sort of an idea of how angled the massive radio source at the center of the galaxy known as Sagittarius A star is. And I'll just tell our viewers this. A galactic outburst does not propagate straight from Sagittarius A star to the sun. It propagates through the spiral arms, and the relevant spiral arm here is the Cygnus arm, and I won't say anything more than that. And there is a reason why we follow Eugene, because Eugene has this thing that we call integrity. So this is part of the reason why we do collabos with Eugene, because it doesn't discount my own credibility by doing so. And this is the reason why we have Eugene the philosopher as one of our related content channels. So check out Eugene's latest video. It's got some interesting information. And Eugene, if you're watching, please head to smAsho.com/forum and get involved in the Earth Geophysics Forum, because we're very interested in how the Earth's geomagnetic field is generated, as this is kind of important, and it could be some sort of a related issue in terms of how the sun's magnetic field is generated, and we've made the Earth's geomagnetic dynamo topic before your very eyes a sticky. So now when you head to forums, smAsho.com/forum, as soon as you click on Earth/geophysics, Earth's geomagnetic dynamo will be right at the top. So have a read about that. Let's talk about some nature stuff. Stinging insects. Now, ever since I was a kid, I was always fascinated by stinging insects, because it's just amazing that an animal this small can sting you and it feels like you got hit by a baseball bat. The bald-faced hornet is a beneficial insect. It is not scary. Now, yes, if you're allergic to bee stings, obviously it's very dangerous. However, this animal is not dangerous unless you directly attack the nest. So if you have these nests in your yard, take it as a blessing and leave it there, because it is a beneficial insect. Why are they incredibly beneficial? Because they nourish their larvae with insects. Means they help control nearly all types of garden pests, and they help to pollinate plants. So don't take down bald-faced hornet nests. It's one of my favorite animals in the entire in the world, period. And the reason that we don't eat hornet honey is because it's made of not only nectar, but also ground up bugs. They eat almost entirely bugs, which would make the honey kind of gross. And I'll bet you somebody's out there eating hornet honey right now. I don't know why. I find it a disgusting idea. Anyway, you actually can relocate these things, believe it or not. You can take the nest and at nighttime plug the hole and put it in a canvas bag and then put it in a refrigerator for a certain period of time, which will reset their clock, and then you can attach it to a different branch someplace else. Don't destroy hornet nests. Secondly, let's talk about the murder hornets. Are they really dangerous? The answer is no. Just like the bald-faced hornet, these things will not attack you unless directly provoked. It's a beneficial insect for the same reason. So even though it's considered an invasive species, they actually do more good than harm, like Lance Armstrong. Yes, Lance Armstrong did a lot of harm to reduce the credibility of cyclists, but he also caused probably 1 billion people to ride their bikes. Now, one thing not understood about the bald-faced hornet pictured here is that it's actually more related to this, a paper wasp, because the bald-faced hornet is a paper wasp, than it is a true hornet like this. What the differences are, I have no idea. The only true hornets we have around here are smaller ones, little green hornets, not to be confused with Bruce Lee. So please understand what's going on with these animals, as they are super, super beneficial. Don't worry about them killing honeybees. Honeybees can take them out by heating them up, which you see happening here. Some Japanese honeybees cooking a giant hornet. Basically, people are overreacting to the murder hornets. Stop freaking out about it. I mean, we've actually had these things, which is the giant European hornet, in the backyard. Another completely harmless animal. They're actually very docile, and again, they'll only attack you if you directly attack the hive. Now, again, we'll be streaming live on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook at about 5:15 p.m. today. Please take a moment to press like and subscribe on the YouTube channel if you haven't done so. Thanks to our new subscribers. Check our links. We have a link to smAsho.org, which will link you to all kinds of other things as well. And it all has to do with our mission, which we won't talk about today. So again, we'll be streaming live to YouTube, to Twitch, and to Facebook all at the same time. And the basis of that content is classified. Each one will be slightly different. One will be only on camera. We may even go outside. And let me just remind everybody that making your planet suck is up to you. And making it not suck is up to you also. So I say to you today, Mansa. Mansa. Make America not suck. Again, if you've noticed, I got this fire behind me here, and that's just part of my innate nature. It's not because America's burning. And by the way, I've heard that international people from different countries seem to think that blacks in America are like super oppressed when they actually have sort of a, well, I'm not going to get into it, but in any case, thanks for leaving comments. Be stoic. Who says he's going to add narration to his video, and for that we thank you. Again, make America not suck again. It's up to you. Talk about weather in our value-added services. Homes destroyed after intense thunderstorms and nearly a month's worth of rain in just 3 hours in the UK. Ouchie. 2 inches of rain over 3 hours on June 16th. Let's talk about some real-time data. Here's what's going on right now with pressure cells, courtesy of windy.com. We'll let this advance, and we're using a GFS forecast right now. We'll let this advance into summer. Summer just fell right there, folks. Again, the solstice happens at 5:43 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Here's where pressure cells will be at noon tomorrow. And we see generally low pressure over the whole planet, basically no real high pressure zones. An interesting feature there. Next, looking at lightning maps, and we see quite a bit of lightning scattered all over the planet. Is there any strike in the U.S. and the continental area? Amarillo. If you're outside now, look north. You may see some interesting light shows up there as we're getting some significant bursts. And if you haven't checked out lightningmaps.org, next time you hear thunder, freak out your foes, impress your friends, and end your neutrals by forecasting thunder. It's a real-time lightning map, and it's just awesome. And we see some heavy storms going across Texas in a very strange southeasterly direction there, and they're looking very stagnant, as well as some heavy storms over central Missouri and central Iowa. Next, looking at the jet streams, let's look at the Western world first, since we were just looking at a U.S. Doppler radar map. And we've got extreme meridional jet stream flow once again. Check out the bends. Here we've got the jet stream moving directly north to south here. And we've got large pockets of air around the equator moving east to west, which is totally abnormal. Here's some more east to west motion. So a very irregular jet stream for the last year or so, maybe 2. And that has to do with solar minima, folks. It has to do with the Earth's magnetic fields most likely, but ultimately we really don't know, since we don't even know how the Earth's magnetic field is generated, nor the sun's. I would note this significant low right here. It's a significant counterclockwise rotation. Anyway, there are the jet streams of the eastern world. Quite extreme meridional jet stream flow. Ask a pilot, he'll agree. Next, looking at water vapor maps here for Africa and Europe. Water vapor maps for the Far East and Oceania. Water vapor maps for the U.S. And we're going to look at that area over Texas, because there is one heck of a convergence happening there. Here's the zoom, and bear with me. Again, we're streaming live. And this is the dangers of live streaming, folks. You get to see what's going on behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. So there's that situation happening there in Texas. And I want to move this up a little bit because there's a little bit more interaction that we're missing. There we go. That's a little bit better. And you can see this dry mass of air in all these areas kind of surrounding this area of extreme moisture, which is causing compression, and as well as causing it to stagnate there. And that's why you're getting this weird motion. This moisture is being pushed to the south and compressed by the jet stream, which is doing something like this. So expect that to stagnate for a significant time there, Texas. And again, if anybody has any custom meteorology reports that you'd like me to do, I'm more than happy to do that for the SMASH team. And thanks to the SMASH team for commenting, sharing on your social media, telling your friends, telling your foes, telling your science pros and your science noobs, not to be boobs, and keep their hands inside. Keep your head and arms inside the SMASH plane at all times, as we don't need dismemberment and decapitation among our viewers. Thanks to our patrons for being assistant and associate producers of the content, as well as our subscribe stars, as well as our one-time donors. Please visit the links below the video and help the probability that these videos will remain free. And we don't see any sunspots. Looking at the intensity gram, here are the magnetic fields, most recently updated for the colorized magnetogram. There are the fields associated with that small active region. It is cycle 25 in nature, and we see this rising region right here just showing up into view, also cycle 25. Last but not least, let's look at the 48-hour video here in 335 angstroms, one of my personal favorites. Allow me to vanish. And allow me to remind you to join us later at the time of the solstice, as we appreciate wishing all of our viewers a happy winter or summer, a happy solstice, before anybody else. That's part of the reason why we always stream during seasonal events like equinoxes and solstices. Anyway, welcome to the Neo Renaissance. Visit the links below the video after you're done viewing it, which is going to happen soon because it's almost over. Attempt to understand the physics. Contribute at smashomash.com/forum, and we'll be talking to you soon. So thanks again, and may that solar wind be at your back and that covidiocy absent from your universe.